Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Fundamentals of Criminal Law. The video you're about to watch is the introductory video for the online course. We will be talking about what we're going to be doing this semester. I'm going to show you how to navigate through Blackboard the way I have it set up. Each instructor has a little bit different things. Some of my courses are a little bit different than others. So we'll see exactly how to handle it in this particular course. Before we get started, though, I want to tell you a little bit of background about myself. My name is Craig Foss. I'm the department chair here at Alvin Community College for the Criminal Justice Department. I'm a retired career police officer. I spent a total of 34 years as a full-time police officer. 21 of those years was with the Galveston Police Department, where I spent most of my career working in the identification division as a crime scene officer, fingerprint examiner, APHIS operator, and for a couple of years I was a sergeant in the division, so acting as a supervisor of the crime scene officers. I also spent time as patrol officer, patrol sergeant, and I spent time as a auto theft detective working back in CID. I spent a year doing that. Kind of interesting. I retired from Galveston and went to work for Beaumont. I worked for the Beaumont Police Department for a very short time before I worked in Galveston. But I worked in patrol there and didn't really like the city of Beaumont. Galveston called and offered me a job, so I jumped at it. When I retired from Galveston, I did so because I was offered a job as a detective with the Dickinson Police Department, doing mostly forensic work and running the property room, and had this little side job doing all the fraud cases. Unfortunately, fraud was the one area of crime that was increasing during that time frame and not going down. So when it was going to be a small part of my job, it ended up being the majority of my job when I was working there. But it was very interesting. I really enjoyed working there. It was a good agency to work for. We were kept well supplied, and it was a small division, but we worked together quite well. So it was a great place to work. I had my educational career. I started out of high school, went to the University of Houston, went to College of the Mainland for a while, and it took me a long time to get my associate degree at College of the Mainland because I'd gone to work in the Galveston Police Department. When I told my father I wanted to be a police officer, he just said, "Well, I want you to finish your education." But I started going to the University of Houston in Clear Lake, and in 1983, this young lady named Alicia came through Galveston and blew my house down. Hurricane Alicia destroyed my house. So I put my college career on hold while I rebuilt, planning on going back after a year. Well, it took 23 years because life happens. I ended up going through the Law Enforcement Management Institute, which is housed at Sam Houston State, Texas A&M, you do modular Texas Women's. And one of the professors was from another college, Midwestern State, which is an old school up in Wichita Falls, about a 100-year-old school now. They had a BAS program that you could do online. He did some recruiting, and I decided, I told my dad I'd finish my education. He's getting old. I need to finish it, and I did. I got my bachelor's through there. And actually, my dad went to graduation. I hadn't planned on going to graduation, but he said he wanted to go, so I went. Made my daughter go too, but that was a different story. But I found that I liked school better as a slightly more mature adult, and so I ended up going to Sam Houston State for a master's program. Got a master's in science in criminal justice leadership and management, and decided I'd like to do some teaching. I taught for a very short time at the University of Phoenix. I didn't like that. I didn't like the school. I didn't like the way they did things. But while I was working for Dickinson Police Department, I came out here at Alvin College recruiting and was told that the department chair was retiring. And I decided to put in for the job, not thinking I would get it, but maybe thinking I'd get to work teach part-time here, and I got the job. And I really love the teaching part. The admin stuff's not so much fun, but that's kind of like writing police reports. You like doing the police work, but nobody really likes doing the paperwork that goes. It's the same thing here at the college. but I really enjoy working with the students. And speaking of working with the students, now we're going to talk about what you need to do for your course. I'm going to go under the assumption that you know how to log into Blackboard. If you're watching this video because you got it by email and you don't know how to log into Blackboard, when you get into your email me back and we will get with you and work so that you can get into the course. So when you do get into the course, you will land on this page, which is the dashboard page. The important thing to see here is going to be your announcements. And I will make announcements about once a week, or when something special happens, I may make an additional announcement. Usually I'm going to announce what's due the coming week, so you'll get that due this week announcement with a link to the weekly video that I make, the weekly update video. What is on this page that you need to realize is not going to be of real value to you is what is due. The due date stuff is not marked in Blackboard because of the way I have the course set up that allows people to work ahead. And if I have due dates in there, if someone gets behind, they're locked out until I can grade the papers and all. So it's just, it doesn't work out with me putting the Blackboard dates in there. You will find your due dates on the course catalog, and on each of the weekly content pages you'll see exactly what's due there. So go by that. Don't go by this what's due section, because nothing's going to be due other than possibly the I think I've got the due date set for the case reviews, but that's the only thing. So if you look over here to the left, this is where we do all the navigation. I'm in the student mode, so this is what y'all should see. The first page you'll come to is the start here. So let's click on it and start there. We're going to talk about the syllabus in a moment, but we'll get back to that. First, I've got a link to my grades, so you can check on your grades. Then I've got a link to the, well, not a link to it, I've actually got the tentative schedule. I say tentative. Most of the time, this is what the schedule is going to be. However, I will tell you, we have things come up. Viruses, ice on the highway, hurricanes, tropical storms, whatever. Things may change. If they do, I will send an announcement out. But you can pretty much see we're going to be covering about a chapter or so a week. You've got 2 case reviews that are due. Those dates are shown. Your exams are all due. With this course, you can work ahead, but you've got to meet all these deadlines. You can't work behind. We'll talk about that again in a moment. Below that, we have my office hours. With this pandemic going on, I'm not going to be on campus unless they change things. I'll be working from home. I'll be available. I'll have hours posted that I'm available. Honest with you, I'll be available many other hours, and so if you need to talk to me, we can set up a virtual meeting where I can actually get online with you, and I can share your documents and so forth, and we can make arrangements on any time that's convenient for you or me. It doesn't have to be during the office hours. It can be in the evening hours, probably not 2 or 3 in the morning, but I do get up rather early in the morning, about 5 or 6, but I run before I do anything, so it's too hot to run later in the day. But anyway, we will work on meeting with you if you do need to talk to me, and if you're a criminal justice major, please make an appointment. We'll go over your courses you need to take to get your degree. Well, I said we would talk about the syllabus, and that's the last thing on here. So what we're going to do is this is a standard template that's used for the syllabus. It does have material that's just for this course, and that's what we're going to really talk about. I expect you to kind of be familiar with the rest of the stuff, but that's going to be the same, of course, across courses. This is Fundamentals of Criminal Law. I will say this is not a self-paced class. You will be allowed to work ahead, but you must meet all course deadlines. The major exams must be taken in a proctored setting using either a desktop or laptop computer, because we're using the HonorLock proctoring extension. You need Chrome browser to do it, and it does not work on a cell phone or a tablet, but it does work on a Windows computer, an Apple computer, or a Chromebook. You will need a webcam and microphone. You'll need your ID, preferably your college ID. So if you don't have one, please try to get it. I don't know what state that is in getting things right now, but if it's available, please go get your ID. You also need a decent internet connection. So those are just kind of some upfront notes. I don't know if it's going to be an option of taking exams on campus right now because things like that are up in the air. If it gets down, you have computer issues, maybe we can work it out. I can't guarantee anything. It's going to depend on how things change between now and when you need to take an exam. In communicating with me, definitely send me an email. You can call my office and leave a message. I'll get an email saying there was a message there, but why not just send me an email with the information you need to talk about anyway? That would be quicker. And the course description is the study of criminal law, including application, definitions, statutory elements, defenses, and penalties, using the Texas statute, the model penal code, and case law. The course also analyzes philosophical and historical development of criminal law and criminal culpability. Upon successful completion of the course, the student will identify elements of crime and defenses under the Texas statute, model penal code, and case law, classify offenses and articulate penalties in various crimes, compare culpable mental states with assigning criminal responsibility, and assess the impact of history and philosophy on current criminal law, and evaluate the application of criminal law to other areas of criminal justice, such as law enforcement and corrections. As far as the textbook, the text is going to be, the only one you'll need is the Texas Penal Code. You can get a copy of it at the bookstore for, I think they're $80, $90, somewhere around there. Or you can go online to the Texas statutes and download a copy of it. You can download a PDF of the entire penal code. I would do that. It's a lot cheaper, and it's the exact same thing. And again, we've got the same course outline here as we talked about or showed you earlier. Again, subject to change. In this course, we've got 3 major exams and a final exam, and they're going to be given in Blackboard. Again, you're going to have to use the HonorLock proctoring system. And part of that system, it's going to record the screen. Now, let me explain to you that I allow you to use your notes in the textbook or your downloaded version of the penal code to take the exam, but nothing else. It's your notes. If you get notes off of any other source on the internet, if you search for answers on the internet while you're taking the exam, if you get somebody else's notes. Now, part of the review for this class, the discussion is going to be reviewing for the exam. If during the review you see someone got a better answer than yours, you can take their answer and add it to you. You have permission to do that. That's what we're trying to do, is share our information and help each other study in this discussion board. Leave your own answer in there because yours might have been a better answer, but you can save theirs. You cannot use things like Quizlets or anything of that nature as kind of an aid, so please don't do that. While taking these exams, if you are caught cheating, you'll fail the class. That's all there is to it. I cannot have somebody who's going to be a criminal justice major cheating on an exam. So that's it. Don't use your Google searches, your anything else other than your notes and the Texas Penal Code. That's the only things that are allowed. In addition to the exams, and the exams will all have 50 questions. There are multiple choice. There may be some true-false in there. The final exam will have 80 questions, 50 questions covering the new material, 30 questions that are coming from the quizzes from the first 3 exams. And you have a minute per question. That's the way it's set up. So again, you don't have time to look everything up, but you do have time to finish the exam and look back and check your notes. But that we'll talk about later on as we go through the semester. In addition to the exams, there will be quizzes for each and every chapter, and you will have to pass every one of them in order to move on to the next chapter. Passing means a 70 or better. There are 2 exceptions to that. There's an introductory quiz basically over this syllabus, so please pay close attention to the syllabus, and there's an APA video that you'll also have to watch on plagiarism video. You'll need to make a 100 on that, and there's going to be a quiz on to make sure you understand the requirements for the case reviews. And you'll also have to make a 100 on that. Again, like the other quizzes, you got unlimited attempts to complete these. What happens if you don't pass them and make a 70 or make a 100 on the ones is the next chapter is not visible. Until you do that, they will not be visible for you to watch. Again, for this course, there are going to be 2 different case reviews. There is another video that you will watch on the case reviews before you take that case review exam, so I'm not going to spend any more time on it. You will have to participate in the discussion boards. Again, there's going to be several of those, one for each chapter. There's an introductory one, there's one on paraphrasing, there's one on at the end of the semester on Name the Crime, where we kind of put together what we've got. And then finally, there's a final discussion board. That all counts as a grade. Academic honesty and plagiarism. You can find case reviews for particularly the first one that we're doing that are already written for you. But if you do, and I catch you, you'll fail the class. Let's just kind of leave it at that. Write your own work, paraphrase things, and kind of pay attention to that. As far as the grading summary, major exams count for 15% of your grade each, so that's 45% of the grade. The finals 20%. The case reviews are each 5%, so that's 10% for the case review. The quizzes count like an exam, and again, you can retake them as many times as you want, so everybody should have 100 on that, and that's 15% of your grade. And then the participation discussion is another 10%. Now, the discussion is based upon completing original and follow-up posts. For your original post on the chapter discussions, you will have to answer things on key terms, and then you will cut and paste your answer directly into the discussion board. And that will be due 1 week. The following week, you will have to do at least 3 follow-up posts where you'll look for answers that are different than yours, and then you'll compare the 2 answers in the follow-up post. Your original post is worth 70%, 70 points, and each of the follow-ups, as long as they are doing what you're supposed to, if you do 3 of them, they're 10% each, so that would get you your 100%. Next thing we'll talk about attendance. Obviously, in an online class, with the way this class is set up, there is no set time to be here. You will, however, have to attend by meeting deadlines. The course policy states that if you turn in or complete everything during a week on time, you're counted as present. If you complete some of your work, but not all of it, then you're marked as late. If you don't do anything during a week, or you've got 3 or 4 deadlines and you don't get any deadline done, you're marked absent. Now, if you have 2 lates, that equals 1 absent. During the semester, you are allowed 3 absences. Anything past that, and you start losing 1 letter grade. So if you got 3 absences and then you don't turn some material in, that's a late. That's 3.5 absences. You just made a B in the class, even if you have an A average. So you got to get things in on time, and it can get worse. I mean, once you get like 6 absences, you fail the class. If you've got 100 average, you still fail the class. So you've got to again get your material in on time. And the rest of this is standard language, so please spend some time looking at it. If you have any questions at all on this, please send me an email and we will talk about it. Now, the other sections we're going to look at, we've got the weekly content, which is the meat and potatoes, but we'll first look at the case review section. And in this section, you'll have a little video right here that you can watch, 13 minutes.
Hey, everybody.
All about the case review. Here's your due dates. There's a template that you have to use. And again, I'm not going to go any further on that other than to tell you, make sure you sign up and select your case reviews. There are 2 of them, Case Review 1 and Case Review 2, and then take that quiz and make a 100 on it. The rest of the time, once you watch this video, you'll get a lot more information on it. And then the exam tab. These exams are not going to be visible to you until you complete certain material. There is, I don't have the case review of the Honor Lock video in here yet, but I will get it in here before class starts. There's a little video to make sure you know how to use Honor Lock. If you've already used it in other classes, you don't have to watch it again. It hasn't changed. So go with that. again, in order for you to get to see the exams, make sure you look up here and see, hey, the exam's not visible. It should be. Well, did you finish discussions 1 through 5 and make at least a 70 on quizzes 1 through 5? If not, you need to go back and do that. Then it will be visible to you. So that kind of is what we have on the exams. Now to the meat and potatoes of the course, the weekly content. On this weekly content page, I'll scroll down a little bit. We've got what's going on each week and what is due, and that's on the cover of the folder for that week. So if we go to week 1 and click on the week 1, it brings up the week folder, and again, this is where the weekly update video will be. Here's a list of everything due. This video you're watching will be right here. This is the one from last year. The APA and plagiarism presentation, it's the same. It hadn't changed since, I don't know, several years ago, 2016. So if you've already watched it and you know it, you don't have to watch it again. If you haven't, please watch it. That Blackboard navigation is going away because I'm actually showing you how to do that here. And then we've got the introduce yourself to the class, where you tell us a little bit about yourself. And then you've got a plagiarism exercise where you're going to read an article and then put it into your own words. And then that all-important introduction quiz. Right above this, I will put the video on how to use HonorLock. I thought I had it loaded, but apparently I still have the old Respondus lockdown on this one. But I will get that for you. So the first week, everything should be visible up front. We'll go to week 2, and you'll see that things aren't visible because I haven't, as Miss Practice Student, taken the required quizzes and participated in the discussions. So the only thing that's visible right now is the week 2 material, the discussions, and the follow-up discussions that you do. But once you make 100 on the quizzes or 70 on the quizzes, whatever it is that makes this chapter visible to you, it will show up. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is going to be the Ask Your Instructor board. This is going to be available at the bottom of every every weekly's folder. This is where you can ask me questions. Anything about the book, anything about the case reviews, anything that is pertinent to the class. Just put some information in the header or the subject line so we know what it's about. When you ask it, I will get an email telling me it's there, and I will then go answer the question. Questions not to ask are things about your personal grades, your personal course evaluation for your degree plan, anything like that. Send me an email to the college email from your college, and I'll answer it that way or set up a virtual meeting with you. Now, one thing I would ask that each of you do is click on this Ask Your Instructor link, and right here where it says subscribe, click the subscribe button, because that way if another student asks a question, and it might be a question that would be important to you, you'll get an email saying, hey, there's a new question on the board, and you can go and see the question, and hopefully my response will be there shortly after that. I will answer them as quickly as I can, hopefully within 24, 48 hours of them being posted. Well, guys, I'm looking forward to working with each of you this semester. This is kind of a quick look at what's going on. If you have any questions about anything, send me an email. If you think it's something other people will have a question about, please put it in that Ask Your Instructor section, and I will answer it as soon as possible. Again, we'll talk to you later.